Hey, welcome to the first episode of my new channel, Science and Future Reads, where I read scientific and futuristic articles and papers that I find interesting and state my opinion on the information as I read. Today, we are going to be talking about an article called Scientists Successfully Decode Thoughts Reading Individuals' Minds in Real Time. So let's just jump right into it. Getting inside your head. Mind reading is often dismissed as nothing more than a charlatan trick, but scientists and researchers are trying to change this decoding of the brain from quack science to hard science. Indeed, significant advancements have been made in this area already, and now universities of Washington scientists have developed technologies that allow a device to effectively read your mind. Well, that's pretty cool. With a combination of brain implants and sophisticated software, the team was able to interpret their subjects' thoughts and extrapolate what their subjects were seeing. Thanks to this study, scientists were able to gain insight into how people are able to translate sensory information from an image into something our minds can comprehend. Wow. Okay. That's really cool. I'm going to continue. In their work, which was published in PLOS Computational Biology, the researchers implanted electrodes for a week in seven epilepsy patients. The electrodes were initially implanted to determine where the seizures were originating, but the scientists saw an opportunity to use them to gather data for research. Uh, so here's a quote saying, "We were trying to understand, first, how the human brain perceives objects in the temporal lobe, and second, how one could use a computer to extract and predict what someone is seeing in real time." That's kind of interesting. With electrodes in their brains, patients were shown a random sequence of images varying from human faces, houses, and empty gray screens in brief 400 millisecond intervals. The patients were instructed to look out for an image of an upside down house. Data was gathered during this time period from the electrodes. This data reflected what is called event related potentials, the massive inflow of neurons lighting up after seeing the image, and broadband spectral changes, lingering signals after the image was seen. So a computer sampled and digitized the incoming data at a rate of 1,000 times per second, which enabled it to figure out the correlation between the images seen by the patients and the electrode location. Using this data, it was able to distinguish which location is more sensitive to an image of a face and that of a house. This data was used to train the software. Another set of images, both containing houses and faces that weren't shown in the earlier sequence, was then shown to the patients. The computer was able to interpret the incoming brain signals in the data and determine what image the subject was then viewing with a 96% accuracy, despite a lack of prior exposure to these new picture. It accomplished all that within 20 milliseconds from the arrival of the data, or almost at the speed of perception itself. What is more interesting is that the software was only able to accomplish this when it analyzed the signals using both event-related potentials and broadband spectral changes, suggesting that impulses across the region, and not only from the neurons in question, is important to how a person perceives an object. So this research is significant as scientists are currently trying to map our brains. In the end, brain mapping could identify how various neurons and their locations relate to how we process our information and ultimately improve our understanding of how neurological diseases affect us. Well, that was pretty interesting. It was kind of psychology and neuroscience heavy, but I thought it was pretty insightful. As always, with futurism.com, it's pretty cool website. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I thought this was really interesting. I'd really be interested in see what anyone else thinks of this. Thanks. Oh, and let me know what you think of this type of video. This is a new concept that I'm just trying out where I'm just gonna, I really like reading this type of stuff as it is. And I know a lot of people don't like having to go read it, but they kind of enjoy getting the information across anyways. So I find that just reading it out in a sort of comprehensible way and just having brief comments on it kind of facilitates people's understanding in that. So again, yeah, leave your comments down below.